So I wanted to show a demonstration on how I like to back my embroidery work. I've seen a lot of different ways and I feel like this is the best way. There's variations of this, but this is how I do it. So this is a little embroidery that I did a few years ago and never finished, so I'm just going to use it for the purpose of this demonstration. So what you'll need is some felt, some scissors, some sewing thread. I like to use number 5 pearl cotton to attach the felt onto the back. Something to mark your fabric with, and a little ruler. I go around and mark my fabric at 1 inch around. This is where I'm going to cut it. And this particular piece of fabric falls a little short of 1 inch on some spots. So you just do the best you can there, just as long as you have enough to weave your needle through. So, and I like to use pinking shears to cut it because it prevents it from fraying, but clearly, as you can see, it didn't really prevent it in this case. But it's all right, we're not going to be working with it too long. So it should be about like this, and you'll get, now you could really use any thread for this, I just happen to have sewing thread. Give yourself about double the amount it would take to go around. Alright, and I just loop it through and tie it like you would if you were sewing on a button. Give yourself a little bit of a tail here when you tie this end. You're going to use that to help tie it together. I'll show you what I mean. So I start at the top, about right here, and I go in. Don't pull your knot through. It will slip through, depending on the fabric. And then you just kind of weave it around. So when you get back around to the beginning where you started, you're going to want to come up right next to where you went in. So that's my little tail from where I went in. I'm going to come up right next to it. Oop. Like right there. Alright, and so now I can pull these two pieces together, and you'll see what I mean by some of those lumps from switching around your width, but that's all right. So you want to tie these together as best you can. Oh, I can get it. I can get it. Ugh. There we go. All right, there we go. Now you can trim that. All right. One thing I forgot to say you'll need are some sewing pins to attach your felt on with. Make sure you can see that good. So I start with opposite ends. Like I'll do one end and then I'll go to the opposite, I'll do one end. And that's so I can get some even tension around it. So you'll just go in, weave your needle through, come back up out of your felt, like that. I really like this process because it's very methodical. Nothing about it changes except for the size of the hoop and the colors of my felt and pearl cotton. And I just really like this process. I feel like it's a very it's quality finishing. It might be a little time consuming, but I find it very gratifying. I forgot to mention earlier that to cut my felt, I use the inside hoop of the embroidery hoop, and I trace the outside of that inner hoop to the felt before cutting it. Okay, so I find pearl cotton to be the strongest for this because it's the thickest. I think you have 5, 8, and 12. And I'm sorry, did I say this is 12? This is definitely 5. 5 is the biggest, 12 is the smallest. And you're going to want a generous amount of this stuff, like more than what seems ideal to work with at a time, because you don't want to run out of your pearl cotton and have to end your stitch and then get more and start a new one halfway through your backing. All right, so I want to come up underneath this and start right here. Can you see that? I went up under the fabric and pulled it out right there at the very tippy top. Oh my goodness, what is happening? All right, now that's tucked behind there, secure. We can reattach this pin. So your thread is coming out right here. You're going to go over just a centimeter or two, and you're going to hold your working thread to the side and go down and up. That thread is going to need to be behind your needle. And there. When you pull it, it cinches the fabric to the felt. See how that happens? So, holding your working thread over, you go up, try and run that needle right along the back of that hoop. You see that? And yes, the excess thread can seem a little unruly. God, not right now, please. There we go. But you're really going to need all of it. You do not want to switch up, have to end your stitch. It can be a pain in the butt. You got a really cute blanket stitch starting there, huh? You're attaching the two pieces together. Uh-oh, see what happens when you don't let your thread go behind your working needle? You gotta have that happening or it won't do anything at all. And this basically mounts the fabric to that inner hoop so that you can take off the hoop even if you wanted to when you're done. Oh my gosh, what am I doing here? And the blanket stitch is a pretty applicable stitch. I mean, it can be used to finish off the edge of anything that you don't really want to fray, or two things that you're trying to attach together. It's called the blanket stitch because it's used to attach two large pieces of fabric together to make blankets. But it can really be, I mean, it's used quite a bit in applique to attach another piece of fabric to another piece of fabric. For your last blanket stitch, you can come up right where your little knot is. My knot pulled through, I believe, so that's why it's there. But you pull up right there next to your knot, and now you can make a knot. I go around. Here's my thread coming out of the back of the blanket stitch. I'm going to go around it so I can lock it into place. So I'm just going to go right around it. I'm not going to show this very well. And back through the fabric. There we go. That won't do. There we go. And make it real tight. And then you could do one more knot around. Make it through. Real tight. And then I bring it, my needle, between the fabric and the felt, under the felt, and I go down a little way and I pop up through the felt. Let's see if I can grab this without destroying my felt. I would recommend a needle grabber for this, a little piece of rubber or tube, or just don't go down far enough that you can't grab your needle. And then I come up through my fabric. And I take some scissors and I cut my thread flush with the felt. And you kind of run your finger over it and hide it. Now you have a backed piece of embroidery. And you can take your hoop off and decorate it while your embroidery is safe and sound. Hold taut around this inner hoop of the embroidery hoop. You can see where it attaches and pulls and keeps the fabric in place. It's nice and clean, attractive to look at. Decorate your hoop, pop it back on, and you have a finished piece. Hope you found this tutorial beneficial and enjoy backing your embroidery pieces this way as much as I do.